I know a lot of people hated the Wii U, which it's in my top 5 Nintendo systems of all time.
Yeah.
Just because it came to me in a very... Did I tell you the story about how I discovered the Wii U?
No.
So I moved out of my dad's. This is the mental health topic for, tonight's episode, sponsored by me. So I moved out of my dad's. I was 18, kind of going through a rough patch there mentally and physically. And so I moved into, this may be another East Texas only thing, studio apartment connected to a double wide mobile home.
What?
Moved into one of those. Yeah.
Hold on. Before you continue, explain studio apartment connected to a double wide?
Yeah. So I grew up in a mobile home, which is fine. Mobile homes are cool. A majority of houses in East Texas are mobile homes. Well, I found this lady on Craigslist who had an ad for a $400 a month studio apartment that was connected to her double wide.
Is this like a pier and beam slab? Like, is this like a regular apartment with a door into the double wide?
Yes and no. It's very hard to explain. This is how East Texan engineered this is. So I moved in there. Not bad. It was like a big living room with a kitchen and a bathroom.
Nice.
Her alcoholic son lived with her, and he was basically waiting for me to finish my lease so he could move back into that room because he needed somewhere to stay.
This is extremely East Texas.
Yeah. So I was going through like depression because I moved out and I was working 3 jobs and going to college, and then my girlfriend at the time, had moved to Denton. So we were long distance, apart. So I was by myself, and mentally, I'm not okay by myself. Now I am. I'm a little bit better, but back then, no. And it wasn't as much suicidal or anything. It was just anxiety.
Yeah. Like
having a panic attack by yourself is the worst feeling ever. So I remember I was walking to my apartment, and the drunk son called himself Okey Dokey Pokey because he was the cool, crazy clown that wanted me to perform for him musically with his clown show that he was writing a clown play. So I would have to, out of all the crap I was going through, I'd have to talk to this guy while he was, drunk. Because the way this apartment was set up was it was her house, a back porch, and the apartment was connected to her house. So I would have to go across the back porch, but that's where he smoked and drank. So it got to the point where I was having to sneak out of my window to get to my car to avoid this guy. And yeah, long story short, the guy was like a child sex offender, registered sex offender, all this stuff. When I moved out, he followed me. He got in his car and followed me. And I drove to my aunt's house and hide away.
Sorry. You got followed by Okey Pokey, the drunk clown?
Okey Dokey Pokey, yeah.
Okey
Cool, crazy
Dokey
clown.
Pokey,
He used to have a
clown.
YouTube channel, but I think they took it down, which I'm glad they did because the guy really needed help. Really, really needed help, obviously. I found out he was a registered sex offender because my friend that I worked with, he was going to... he's a cop now. So he was studying criminal justice, all that. And he showed me an app that they were learning at school where you could look up records, to find warrants, hunt people down. And he looked him up, and he was caught peeing by an elementary school, and then he was caught again peeing on the elementary school. So, and he was caught because the second time he was doing it during recess. So,
oh no,
it was just weird, man.
This story just keeps getting weirder.
He pulled me aside one day. I got out of my car and I was exhausted. Like I said, I was working 3 jobs. I was working 3 jobs in college. I was also playing in 2 bands at the time. And I remember I came home and he was like, "Let me see your arm hair." And I was like, "What?" And he just grabs my arm and he pulls like a pinch of arm hair and he goes, "Blonde. You're blonde." And I was like, "Yeah." And he was just out of it. And he's like, "You're going to hell." He's like, God doesn't accept blondes in his kingdom. And I'm like, all right, man. I want to know what you're smoking or doing, Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
That is about the weirdest
And
story
and
I've
what's
ever
that
heard.
song that oh, sometimes I get a good feeling. Yeah. Never know. There used to be a YouTube video of him dancing to that. And I wish I could find it. And I'm to those listening or watching us, yes, this is a guy who needed help. At the time, I was too young to understand what he was going through. So I'm not making fun of him. I'm just telling you about these crazy experiences. So if you know anybody that's going through this, get them help or try to be there for him.
Yeah.
But he had a YouTube video of him dancing to that song, and that's when I instantly knew. I was like, okay, like I found out he went through a divorce, and his mom, who was my landlord, really nice person. Honestly, she's like, you know what? Just like leave your rent, put your rent in my grill. That's literally where I had to put it. She's like, just put it in the back porch. Like, I'll get it. You know, if you're late, no biggie. You're a good guy. But secretly, my son's watching you and wants that spot. No.
Oh, dude.
So, yeah.
It sounds like, honestly, like the synopsis to a horror film.
You know, now that I think about it, I'm really, really surprised. Like,
How are you not in the trunk of a clown car?
You know, I'm not a huge male, but I do give off like that rocker because I have the beard and the hair. I mean, at the time I was a baby face, so I would have been a catch for him. But
No.
sorry, I just had to get that out of the room. But moral of the story is the Wii U got me through that very rough patch because I was going through a stalemate with my PlayStation 3. I'd beaten every single God of War, every single Resistance, Killzone, like every game that came to it. And I remember my brother gave me his Wii when I moved out with Skyward Sword, and the Wii died. And I was really bummed because I was like actually progressing through Skyward Sword.
Yeah.
So I was doing a college assignment, and I was just feeling super depressed. And I was like, I'm going to listen to some Nintendo music. So I pulled up some Ocarina of Time music in the background on YouTube. And I got an ad of Reggie talking about the Nintendo Wii U and how it was coming out that week. And I was like, oh my God, Nintendo has a new system, because everybody thought that. They were like, oh, you know, what the hell's a Wii U?
Yeah.
And I saw it, and I instantly fell in love with it because the gamepad had analog sticks. And I was like, oh my God, Nintendo's going back to like a classic controller. And I bought it at launch. And it was a really good weekend because
It was like you and two other people.
Yeah, me. No, actually, it was quite a bit of people at GameStop. It was about like 18 to 20. It was a good weekend though because my wife was in town and I had some friends over, and we ordered pizza and played the Wii U.
Nice.
And was a good console then, and then I took a very long break from it because I'm like, oh my God, this system sucks. But then Breath of the Wild came out, and I got it for the Wii U because I didn't know how the Switch was going to do, and I didn't want to drop $300 something on a new Nintendo system, not knowing how it was going to be.
Right.
And then I played Breath of the Wild, instantly loved it. I played the HD versions of Wind Waker, Twilight Princess. My wife took me to the Zelda concert, played the virtual consoles. Yeah, and then got a Switch. It was that's my Wii U story.